I thought Saturday, or was it Saturday or Sunday, was the opening for the Sunday. Incredible part for our kids to be a part of. To honor Coach Richardson named the court. I think it's another thing that our administration, Chancellor Steinmetz, our board of trustees, and Hunter Yurchek have been really progressively thinking and doing a lot of positive things for us, and that was another one. Our kids, after understanding some of the history, and when I told them that Coach Richardson's last game as a coach was as a women's basketball coach, most people didn't even remember his days with the Tulsa Shock, but our kids really embraced it and had a great day. So it then led to a great practice. So I hope that keeps going this week as we prepare to play Pitt State, who I think just came out number 20 in the country in the preseason Division II polls. Check my number on that, but I think that's right. So really good test for us coming up on Thursday. It's his first one, y'all. Give him a break.
That's right. Mike, what do you want to accomplish as far as seeing some players on the floor and what you want to do?
We all know that practice lights and game lights, although they turn on the same place, that you function differently under them. So I want to see from some of the newcomers and kids that are in new roles, can they do that when we've opened the doors up and let people come in and watch? Our practices have been going really well, but there's a translation factor that every kid has to go through. So I want to see that. We want to look at our big lineup together. We've been working in practice. That's new for all of us, playing a couple of bigs together. I want to see how that functions, and if we can function as fast as we want to and still play that way with two bigs. And then we've kept it really simple. We want to be really good in transition offense and really good in transition defense.
When you look at your rosters and the analytics of how, where are you right now with trying to put those lineups together, and then what does that look like for you on Friday?
I'm really stymied. There's about 10 kids that could argue for starting, 10 kids that could argue to be the 4 or 5 to be the first off the bench or whatever. I think it's going to be a departure from the previous 6 years of how I would prefer to substitute. We may see a variety of starting lineups because the competition has been so close. The analytics point exactly toward that. We've also had a lot of little nagging injuries and flu, and somebody's out this day or out that day. So we haven't really had a chance, even though we've got a roster of 16 kids, to have everybody out there. So the practice analytics show that it's very, very close. It's been very competitive. And we may play more than 7 or 8 kids this year if that continues to be true once we get game time.
How's Jalen Mason progressing from her injury?
All she can really do is cardio stuff right now. She's in a cast, so she can't do anything moving. She can still be a leader for our team. She has been a leader for our team. But as far as we won't know anything until she gets the cast off when it comes to the foot.
Do you have a time frame for that?
No.
One more thing. You talked last time we talked to you about your team in preseason rankings not going to get that double digit. Well, they didn't.
Yeah.
What's the feeling around the program?
Well, it was a little higher. 5 was a little bit lower of a single digit than we expected. So, I'm not one of those guys that says it's meaningless. I do believe it has meaning. It doesn't mean that that's our seed in the SEC tournament. It doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen, but it does mean we've made progress. I mean, and for me to sit up here and say it's meaningless would be a slap in my kid's face, like Kiera and Jalen, who have been here every year and been picked double digits. And it'd be a slap in the newcomers' faces who chose to come here when we were double digits and got that changed. I do think it's raised our level of expectations for each other in practice, though, because I don't think anybody wants to let anyone down. We've got a locker room full of pleasers, and when they appreciate that they were ranked there, and they don't want to let anybody down with those expectations. I do think we'll see a different number from the coaches. I think the media fell in love with us last year during our run. We kind of became the darling of the SEC tournament, and I think that carried over a little bit. So maybe we'll see where the coaches pick us and take an average of those two and set our expectation level there. But I think you have to embrace it. I don't think you can bury your head in the sand. I think you have to talk about it, embrace it. It's been something a little bit new every day. Yesterday, Charlie Cream released his bracketology, and we were a 5 seed. So that's another one of those things you deal with. But I think you certainly have to talk about it because the kids are going to hear about it. I mean, with social media and the instant news that they're in, they're going to know about it. And if I choose to not talk about it, I think it seems weird not coming from me. So we talk about everything that comes up, and I think it's helped us.
What's it been like having size and then being able to utilize it a little bit in practice to kind of get to where you want to get in the game so far?
Our men's practice players said something about it the other day. They're like, Coach, it's a little harder to rebound against y'all this year. So that was a positive thing. We can put a lineup out there that I expect to get rebounds with. It's been a challenge for us to kind of work on some new actions. It's been a while since we've had a team that's had 2 capable inside presences at the same time that could play. So it's been fun. We've been able to experiment a little bit, get creative, try some things in practice. I think they like having a substitute too. Last year, Kier and Taylor pretty much got ran in the ground in practice because they had no backups, no subs. So I think it's added to our competitiveness. I think it's obviously helped us in rebounding, and I think defensively as well, being a little bit tougher in the paint.
Score from your guard position again this year and maybe adding a little bit more with Amber. I mean, just what you guys can do offensively from the perimeter.
It's been explosive at times. We had a 38-point quarter the other day in a scrimmage against our guys, I think we missed 2 shots. Chelsea went 10 for 16 from the three-point line in another scrimmage the other day. When you can make it from range, and that new three-point line hasn't bothered us any. We might as well just put one down in our gym because we're shooting it from the first one we see. It allows you now to attack the basket more, spacing the defense. It really stresses the defense out. And the depth of shooters that we have right now, it's not, we don't just have to rely on 1 or 2 kids to maybe have a hot hand that day. They have really made each other improve throughout the shooting drills, throughout the workouts. Because if you're the one that's not making shots in practice, it shows up. And I think it's really stressed a lot of those kids to get in the gym, and everybody's become a better shooter. When Avery Hughes is your kid that is the only one that's not on a scholarship right now, and she's making 6 out of 9 in front of you, it makes you want to get in the gym. And she's been a real asset to us as well throughout these injuries. She's come in here and really made an impact for us in a lot of ways.
Mike, back to your big lineup, do you feel like it slowed you down at all, or by getting more defensive rebounds going to almost help trigger more stuff? No,
it hasn't slowed us down at all. In fact, especially when you put Taylor and Aaron Barnum in there together, it may speed it up. We've had to give them some new tactics because they're used to kind of running to the same spot. So we've had to do some new strategic things, which, anytime something's new there's a little bit of hesitation and a little bit of unsureness. So we got to keep working with the big lineup. I think the more we play with it, the faster we'll get. But it has not slowed down our time of possession at all. We've been able to still get a good quality shot pretty quickly.
You put out there on social media yesterday that, the season tickets have sold out, more than you've ever sold before. What's the excitement level just going into the season here with the whole program?
When they told me that, I was floored because we didn't have this big campaign. It wasn't like we got on the hotlines and put the kids on the phone, and it was just a response. And I think that's what we tell our recruits all the time. That's Razorback fans. If you go out there and you put a product and you play hard like we did at the end of the year last year, they're going to come out and support. And I think that's what we sell our recruits. And to see that happened without a branding plan, that's what I was most proud of. But that's the type of things when we have weekends with future Razorbacks on campus that they can feel. You can't fake that stuff. You cannot fake atmosphere. So when they come into a practice and they come into those things and they see those things, they know that we're building. It's still not obviously where I think we can take it, But I do think if those people come out, they'll come back. Our marketing staff does a great job creating a live experience, and our kids are very engaging. So we're going to continue to make sure that continues to grow.
Any other questions?
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Coach.